Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Forehand Disc Golf. This is just again some really quick commentary of a muddy and wet and kind of chilly round here at Hillside in Live Oak, Texas. For a Texas day, it was a little cold, but in other places I know around the country they have it far worse. We started on hole number 13. I tried to flex out a Fusion Raider off to the side. This hole's about 430. I got it way out there, but I'm still off to the right, so I knew I had to throw over everything, so I reached for my Hybrid X Felon. Just not the right angle, too high. Gave myself a makeable putt, but y'all will see during this round, this one was a tough one to post because I just couldn't get anything right. So next hole is hole 14. It's just right there. So I throw my Berg up right at it, just ended up trailing off to the right, giving myself an easy birdie putt. I'm excited to get an ace on this someday, I think. So not a bad way to start the round though, at a -1. But hole 15 eats my lunch, as it does a lot of others. I reach for my Lucid Moonshine Maverick and it flips. It just flipped a little early. You can kind of see if it would have gone just a little bit more to the right, there is this opening there. So I really need to get this figured out. I was like, I'm going to try to flex over that. I even point. I'm like, I'm going over and going through. And instead I go straight into the tree and it trickles into the woods to the point where you'll see on this next shot, you can't even see where I'm at. So I have to just throw out with my Sake Bomb Orbit Felon and up right here. And I'm like, you know what? I got to get this. So I reach for my Berg, I throw it just over the top of the band. But when you do, it is a downhill slope into those woods that you can kind of see. And you can see my realization to think, there's no way. So I had to putt in the woods. There's not a wide angle lens enough in the world to put the camera anywhere where you can see me and the basket without putting straight at the camera, which I'm already losing my sanity. I don't want to lose my camera as well. We come to the next hole, which is a longer par 5. I reach for my Grace and throw it low, put myself in a really good spot. That's pretty much exactly where I want to be, maybe to the left a little bit. But would put a little bit more height, maybe some flex. But I put myself in a good spot to throw this Lucid Felon straight into a tree. That's my beat up Felon, so you can even see, even though it was thrown out a little flat, it still started turning. So next throw, I actually reached for my Chameleon, my Opto Chameleon River, and I held the line really well. It did roll backwards, but it left me with this putt. Wish I could have had that one. This next hole should be my bread and butter. I reached for my Berg and I watched the film over again, and I did throw it on hyzer. It still just turned over, so I definitely had some off-axis torque on that one that caused it to flip, but saved the par. Just real bummer. This was a bad throw, but this was with my Lucid X Vandal. Tried to throw it off on hyzer, have it flip up, but I gotta throw it way lower than that or go way above. But I reached for my Berg, throw it on hyzer, held the line the entire way. But it did. It went down the hill by quite a bit, but I still gave myself a good putt here to save the birdie. And I just can't putt. I make that one, but the first one should have been so easy. You can see, I sad. This is a fun little hole 19. I don't know why I thought I could hyzer flip the suspect like that, but instead ended up trailing off to the right. Slightly downhill. This is an easy putt. I have to make these. You'll see just how I release it. I just kind of bleh. No good. So we're finally on hole number 1. I try to throw it kind of off to the left. There's a road right there. You can't see it, but I end up hitting the last tree. But you can kind of see that if I wouldn't have hit it and skipped up, would have actually been in a really cool spot. But instead I reach for my Berg and throw one of the worst Berg shots, except for the one that got turned over. And I missed the putt. That is a makeable putt. I've made those. So we come to me, the easiest hole on the course. And I threw it long with the Berg down the hill. I just got to throw it flat. Instead I threw it on hyzer. So still a makeable putt, but not for me. Not today. Not today. So then we come to the next easiest hole. And again, you just got to throw a flat, but instead I throw it on a massive amount of hyzer. The only nice thing about this is look at perfect distance. Really bad run. Just every part of my game is really struggling throughout this entire day, and none worse than that right there. I really thought that was my chance. You can see I'm just mad. It's also being a little silly. We all threw right into the side of this hill. Then I grabbed my beat up Lucid Felon. You can see I threw it on some hyzer and it still flipped over. Thought it was going to go through the trees and give me a really good shot, but reached for the berg, gave it a slight run. But you know what, this hole I've had some really bad scores on. So, but you know what, this hole I've had some really good scores on. So I was excited to get up there, reach for my grace, and then just throw it into the ground and watch it roll into a spot where I don't have a clean gap. You can see I've got that small one on the left, so I'm like, I have to throw it flat on some angle, and I throw it, I mean, literally 10, 15 feet into the ground in front of me. You can see my disc off to the left. Camera's kind of just doesn't even want to watch me play either. So throw my Lucid X Chameleon Raider into a tree, and then reach for my suspect, throw it out there, and it actually ends up resting right next to the pin. So one good approach, but that doesn't save you from the other shots. Reach for my Saki Bomb Orbit Felon. I was going for an ace run, and I bounced right behind the basket, and it bounced hard. Did give it a good run, but not today. Not today. Do save the par. Here I've got my Lucid Suspect. Weird angle. I threw it on slight hyzer and then kind of twisted my wrist right at the end. I don't know what I was doing, but it turned over and I was very mad at myself but went up for the putt, hit the front of the cage. Still happy with that effort. Then I reached. You can see my arm did not like that. That was painful. Can't fully explain what happened, but just wasn't a good shot. But you know what? Almost made the putt. Hit the back cage and some of the chains, and then followed up with this. This was a really clean shot, but it was going really long, so I need to control that. Maybe throw something with a little less speed than my suspect, and then I got to make putts because who cares? I'm missing everything. Fake throw at you. Hope that didn't scare you. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't record. I thought it did, and then I looked later and it was gone. So, but you can see where I ended up. I hit this tree uphill. This is a par 5, so this is my second shot. Reach for my skippiest Lucid X Chameleon Raider. It tacoed on a rock. So who would have skipped up? I honestly would have had a really, really nice look. As you can see here, it would have skipped right up there towards the basket and given me a really close putt for a 3 on a par 5, but you can see something. It's just off versus last time. This one's hilarious. Super short, just down that hill. You just gotta throw flat. You don't want to end up in the right side. On the left side, it's a lot cleaner, and you have a lot more trees to stop you. But on the right side, you just end up in a bush, and you throw from the bush, and then you take a par from the bush. So, yeah, things were not going great. It's still great. I mean, the being out there, even though it was wet, muddy, kind of cold, I mean, these guys were awesome. Throw a horrible shot on the last hole of the day. This should be, again, my hole. It's made for a forehand hyzer line. And but I put myself in a tough spot to save the par. Do end up saving the par on the round, take a +3. Tough round to post just because it was so bad, but you got to take what you can get. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe, whatever you want to do. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next episode.